Good evening, everybody. My name is Henry Abraham, and I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I haven't had the need to use any mind or mood-altering substances in the last 37 plus years, since November 17th, 1980. And I only say that to encourage those of you that are watching this channel. And basically, this whole channel was developed to show you that you can too recover. Again, why am I doing these videos? Simply because I care. Why do I care? I've been there. I want us to today talk about a topic which is really interesting, and the topic is the difference between clean and sober, or as another fellowship says, clean and serene. You know, you can get clean and never get sober, or you can get clean and never get serene, because clean merely means abstinent, or as the book says, dry. And sobriety simply means soundness of mind. So prior to coming to recovery, a person is insane, doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. But we talked about in our last video, when a person recovers, because we do recover, that person gets sanity, and what they recover is the ability to use their free will to be in alignment or in agreement with God's will. And that makes things a whole lot better. So you can get clean and never get serene, or you can get clean and never get sober, but you cannot be either sober or serene without first getting clean, because clean is abstinence, right? But it's an interesting thing, and I'll give you a great analogy, and I use this analogy often. The analogy is simply a cucumber could become a pickle, but a pickle could never be a cucumber. You know, if you go to, or if you watch tennis, you'll see that in between the two opponents is the net. And that net in this analogy represents the disease of addiction. You know, the cucumber, prior to crossing the net to be in a pickle, had to cross that imaginary line of one is too many and 1,000 isn't enough. But unlike tennis, you can't hit it back across the net and be a social or moderate or temperate user, right? Because one is too many and 1,000 isn't enough. That's why abstinence is the foundation on which we build everything in pursuit of sobriety. Even our literature says, get your big book out. On page 82 of your big book, it says in the second paragraph, the second sentence, sometimes we hear an alcoholic say that the only thing he needs to do is to keep sober. Certainly he must keep sober, for there will be no home if he doesn't. But if he is yet a long way from making good to the wife or parents whom for years he has so shockingly treated, passing all understanding is the patient mother and wives have had with alcoholics. Then if you drop down to the next paragraph, and probably the third sentence in that paragraph, it says, we feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. Why? Because you went from being insane to working all 12 steps. Now you're sane. So what did you get sane to do? You got sane so you can reunite your will with God's will. The secret lies in step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve your conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of His will for you and the power to carry it out. So I'm only supposed to be praying for the knowledge of His will for me, because you remember, self-will got me in here, and self-will run riot. And once I pray for His will, He'll give me the power to carry it out, because lack of power used to be my problem. Page 45. Prior to me recovering, step 12, right? Now I've been reconnected back to the power I no longer choose to use. Let's look at a story, a very familiar story in our big book that illustrates this point that I'm attempting to make. Page 32 of our big book talks about a man of 30 years old. Let's look at the second paragraph. And it says, a man of 30 was doing a great deal of spree drinking. He was very nervous in the morning after these bouts and quieted himself with more liquor. Sounded like most of us used to be. He was ambitious to succeed in business, but saw that he would not get anywhere if he drank at all. Once he started, he had no control whatever. That was key right there. Notice what his desire was. His desire was to succeed in business. Interesting. You remember tradition 3 says the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. This guy wanted to succeed in business. And notice what he did. He built upon his desire and he built it with faith. In other words, faith preceded his desire. Even though he had a right to desire what he wanted, which is to be successful in business, he did not desire to stop drinking. Notice what happened. He made up his mind, made a decision, that until he had been successful, there it is again, in business, and had retired, he would not touch another drop. The story goes on to talk about an exceptional man. He remained bone dry. I told you earlier about some tools of recovery, and one was the Big Book Dictionary, but in your Big Book Dictionary, the word bone dry is not in there. Dry drunk is. You can look it up for sake of time, but it simply means he remained abstinent for 25 years and retired at the age of 55 after a successful and happy business career. So his desire was fulfilled because he had faith for that desire. He remained abstinent, clean, but he never got sober. Watch this. Then he fell victim to a belief which practically every alcoholic has, that his long period of sobriety, he was deceived, and self-discipline had qualified him to drink as other men. Out came his carpet slippers in a bottle. In 2 months, he was in a hospital, puzzled and humiliated, cunning, baffled, and powerful. He had crossed the imaginary line. He tried to regulate his drinking for a while, making several trips to the hospital meantime. Then, gathering all his forces, he attempted to stop altogether and found he could not. After 25 years of being bone dry, abstinent. Every means of solving this problem, which money could buy because now he's successful in business, was at his disposal. Every attempt failed. Though a robust man, big, at retirement, he went to pieces quickly and was dead within 4 years. Wow. You know, and this commenced to go on, and it talks about how we can be deceived by confusing abstinence with sobriety. And I read earlier to you, even when obtaining sobriety, which is sanity, our book clearly states, as again I said on page 82, that we feel that a man is unthinking if he thinks sobriety is enough. Now you have been returned back to sanity. You got that back in step 2. But now you're trying to maintain what you've obtained as a result of it. And what is the purpose of this whole video? I have one question to ask you. And that question simply is because we do videos that are non-judgmental, but we want to do videos that are educational and not just entertaining. The question I want to ask to you is, are you bone dry? You know, I hope if you are, that's a great start, and I commend you for it. Abstinence is the key. But I hope as you pursue the road to recovery, meaning working with a sponsor and doing all the necessary things that you have to do in order to remain in spiritual fit condition, that you achieve a level of sobriety, and you not only achieve that level of sobriety, but your relationship with your higher power is restored back to where as though you will allow him to control your life as opposed to you controlling your life. Here's an Abrahamism. Never discuss your problems with someone who can't help you solve them. I'll be with you soon. I'll talk to you in the times to come. I want you to subscribe, press the bell for the notifications. I really hope you leave some comments and that you got something out of this, okay? I'll talk to you soon.